Oh, morning everyone. So I was just having a video morning, editing a video about tips and tricks, only little ones, and I keep saying any questions like let me know. I go on the old laptop to edit that video, and I noticed a comment on a video. Here it is here, look, amongst all the other ones. I'll put it up so you can read it properly, but there it is there, look, I'll have a little read of it now. So it says, hello, hey, maybe you can help me. I just got a Savage 4.6 big block and I'm having a problem. The wheels spin at idle, and yes, I know it's kind of normal if that happens. Then you put it on the ground and they stop and everything is good. Not in my case. If I put me truck on the ground, it goes slowly, but it goes, and but it goes, and if I force it to stop, it kills the engine. The carburetor needles look fine, and I know how the carburetor works, and idle is perfect, but the clutch is engaging too soon for some reason. Why do you think this problem is? This is my first Savage. I have had Nitro RC cars and never had this issue, so I'm a little confused. Help! Well, then, in this case, as I know I did a little sarcastic, some people probably take me the wrong way. On the comment, I replied to that comment, and I said, it sounds like you got a clutch problem there. Well, it's true, isn't it, eh? Anyway, it sounds like, to me, see, because the way a Nitro engine works, I haven't actually got, let me see if I've got one I can demonstrate with. All these engines here, I've all got the clutches taken off of them. So I haven't even got one I can demonstrate with, unfortunately. Good old Chris sent me these a long time ago, and we've got a clutch. Right, let's go and find a bell. Oh, lovely! Right, so let's do some demonstrationing. So we've got two different engines, I know, but the way a clutch works, for those of you that don't know, on these clutches, they're called centrifugal clutches, right? So you've got the little clutch pads here. There's probably technical names for these, but I just call them whatever because that's what I do. So you've got little clutch pads here, right? And they're on springs, all right? And you can see them folded in like that at the moment. There's three of them. Some have two, some have three, and I've even seen four. You know, got four clutches. But anyway, this one's got three. So they're like that, and as the engine spins, the reason they're called centrifugal is because centrifugal force pulls them outwards. And so if you was to rev that up without, this is called a clutch bell, right? If you was to rev this engine up without that on it, these you would see these, right? God, the springs are tough, you know what I mean? They've got to be tough, otherwise it would engage way too. I can't pull it out, but maybe if I get a screwdriver I could. But anyway, these, you can see the hinges there, the pivot points, springs on the inside, and they fly outwards. Yeah, they fly out, and then they grip on the inside of the clutch bell. All right. Let me see if I've got one to demonstrate. Hold on. I wonder if I've got a clutch bell that's off. Amongst all of this stuff here, look, what have I got? I've got one. I've got flywheels. I've got all sorts of stuff, but I ain't got a clutch bell. But anyway, I'm sure you can imagine, yeah, that underneath this clutch bell is a clutch, just like this. Okay, so as the engine revs up, these fly outwards, which then grips on the inside of this clutch bell, which then turns the clutch bell, which then obviously turns. It's all connected, that little cog, which then turns and goes on to the I can't see it, the spur gear, which is in there. Alright, so that's how that works. Now, so your Nitro engine, it should never stall, you know. It doesn't matter, even if you've you know, because obviously on tick over, these are still going round, but they're not flown outwards. Okay, so there's a gap between the clutch and the inside of the bell housing. Alright, so that's why it's loose. Yeah, and that spins freely on its own. So on tick over, the engine's spinning, the clutch is spinning on the inside of this, but it's not gripping on this, so it's not spinning. As you start to rev it up, it will start to fly out, it will start to grip on this until the RPMs are enough, where the clutch pads are flung out enough that a solid grip on this. But even so, if you want to try it yourself, you can, but don't do it for too long because you'll just wear out your clutch pads. But if you hold on to your car, jam it to the ground and rev it up, yeah, you'll hear the engine start to work hard. The clutch will start to grip and it'll start to want to go, but you will be able to rev it up flat out, and the clutch isn't strong enough, yeah, where it will overcome you and go. Okay, so you'll be able to do that, and you'll be able to get a sense of how it works, hopefully. But don't do it for too long. Don't do it too often. Only do it once, because all that'll happen is you'll wear out your clutch pads. Yeah, the friction and gripping on the inside of that, they just wear out, and then that's when you get the trouble of you're getting really high RPMs and not going anywhere, and you've got no power because your clutch is worn out. But anyway, I think we're going off topic a little bit. I've got so much. I'll tell you what my trouble is. I've got so much I want to tell you. So much I want to say. Sometimes it gets a bit jumbled when it comes out, and it goes a bit higgledy-piggledy, and I think it confuses some people. Because I've got so much information, I just want to tell you it all. You know what I mean? I just want to say it. But sometimes I jump about a bit, and I think people get a bit confused because I jump about a bit. It just all comes out in a funny way. But anyway, so in this case, where this person's got this Savage, and they're saying that when they start it up, it's fine. They're saying they know how to do an engine, so I ain't got to worry about the engine. I ain't got to tell them nothing about that. They're a professional at engines. But when they put it on the ground, because it's normal, it's normal. If your tick over is too high, this person says that that when their car is off the ground, the wheels spin. That's not normal, in my opinion. If your wheels do spin when your car's off the ground, your tick over is too high. Alright, so you need to lower down your tick over. You should be able to pick your car off the ground, and your wheels won't spin. If your wheels spin when you take it off the ground, your tick over is too high, you need to lower your tick over. It's as simple as that. I don't care what anybody says, that is the fact. Alright? Some people like to run a high tick over, but that's, you know, if you're a bit gay, then fair enough. So, he says that he puts his car on the ground, and the wheels don't stop. The car wants to keep going. And then if he puts his hand on the car to stop it, the engine stalls. Excuse me. Well, it's very clear then that there's a problem. Perhaps the springs have broken on his clutch, and I've seen it before. I'm not going to force this one open, but I've seen it before where the springs have broken and they've got jammed in behind the clutch pads, so that they're stuck slightly outwards and constantly gripping on the bell housing. So that means the clutch is pretty much constantly engaged, and because the spring is broken and jammed behind the pad, you know, it doesn't ever go back in again. So that means even on tick over, the pad is out, it's gripping on the bell housing, and yeah, it's just, that will cause the engine to stop. To stop? To stop? That was a combination of stall and stop. I couldn't decide which word I wanted to say. But that will cause it to stall because, you know, the clutch isn't working properly. So, yeah, if you've got this problem, I would say definitely, if you've got any kind of clutch problem, don't fanny around, you know, looking at it. All you got to do is take it apart. It's very simple. Take your engine out, undo the little screw. Some of them have a Phillips head screw. Some of them have an Allen screw. Like this one's got an Allen bolt. Take that bolt out. Take the washers out. Make sure you remember what way they go on. Take the bell off, and then you'll end up with this clutch. And then you can have a look. You could examine it. Does it look like this one? This one's a brand new one, as it should look. Does it look like this? You know, if one of them is, if they're loose, sometimes the springs wear, they get a bit, and they can be loose. This one's rock solid because it's brand new, but they can be loose, they can flap around. That's fine, that's alright. That's when you get a bit of a juddery clutch. You know, like sometimes when it's on tick over, and your car's sitting there, but it's juddering a little bit. It's trying to go, but it's not. And the engine's only on tick over. That's because the springs are worn, the hinges are worn, so the clutch pads, they flap up in and out very easily, and they're just flung out easily. The idea is that they're going to be nice and solid, so it takes a lot of RPMs to fling them out, and that's how you get. That's a good clutch. You can get different types of spring, race clutches, all sorts like that for different applications, easy ones, hard ones, whatever. Some of them take a lot of RPM before they go. Some of them, you know, when you're ordinary little RC cars like this one for everyday use, domestic use, they'll be soft, you know, and they'll just go normally. But if anybody, including the person I've forgotten his name who has this Savage, just take the bell off and examine the clutch and see what the crack is with that, because it's a clutch problem if that's the case. But lower your tick over, dude. Lower your tick over, because I can tell you for a fact, yeah. And well, in this case, it sounds like his clutch is broken anyway, so his wheels will be spinning even if it's on a very, very low tick over. His wheels will probably still be trying to spin. It depends on how fast they're spinning. If they're spinning fast, then you've got a high tick over. But if the clutch is constantly engaged due to a broken spring or something, and he's got a low tick over, and the wheels are just going round like that, just very, very slowly, it's just going, whoa, then in which case the tick over is probably fine. But before we touch any tick over crap, we'll just have to examine the clutch. It's a very simple thing to do. I'm not going to take this one apart now because I can't be bothered, but all you got to do is just pull them off with a flat-edged screwdriver, take them off, and examine them if you needs be. But if they look a bit dodgy, you can see the springs in there. Look. There you go, you can see the springs. They go on the back of there, and the other half of the spring is attached to that thicker part of that spline. And the springs just pull the pads inwards, and as I just said, the centrifugal force forces them outwards, which then grips on the inside of the bell. So yeah, that's definitely a clutch problem there. So if anyone else has got the similar problem where their engine likes to stall if you put it on the ground or whatever, or you have to start it up and then you have to sort of drop it on the ground and push it along quick, otherwise it will stall, you've got a clutch problem. Have a look at your clutch. Shouldn't be like that. So yeah, that was an impromptu video, but I love answering questions, and I love troubleshooting, and I love problem solving. I'm a problem solver. Alright, I love it. So especially when it comes to engines. So yeah, I hope that's helped some of you lot, and I hope that's helped whoever it was that had that. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, I'm bad with things like that. Whoever had that question, I hope that's helped you out. And just don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. I say to everybody, don't be scared, don't be afraid. Just get in there, take it apart. You ain't going to do no damage, you're not going to do anything, and if you do, you can just fix it afterwards, can't you? Take the engine out, 4 bolts, 4 screws, take the engine out, take that bell off, have a look at your clutch, and let me know. Put it in the comments of this video. Have you fixed it? What was the problem? And then when you go and buy new clutch pads, because you're probably going to have to, or new springs, get good quality ones. Don't get cheap, shitty Chinese ones. Go down your RC shop and ask for ones that are made in the country that you live in. If you live in China, then get Chinese ones. But if you live in England or America, get proper ones, yeah? Not crap ones, because they'll just break again. Catch you on the next one, you lot. All the best.